Let me ask you about the state of Georgia. Obviously, yesterday, the governor there, he certified the election for Joe Biden. It's about 12,000 votes. And what you see, will Georgia switch?
Yeah, that's a total farce. Georgia's probably going to be the first state I'm going to blow up, and Mr. Kemp and the Secretary of State need to go with it because they're in on the Dominion scam with their last-minute purchase or award of a contract to Dominion of $100 million. The State Bureau of Investigation for Georgia ought to be looking into the financial benefits received by Mr. Kemp and the Secretary of State's family about that time. And another benefit Dominion was created to award is what I would call election insurance. That's why Hugo Chavez had it created in the first place. But I also wonder where he got the technology, where it actually came from, because I think it's hammer and scorecard from the CIA.
Just to clarify, you're saying that Governor Kemp, who's been a longtime ally of the president, is directly involved because of financial benefit in the conspiracy to defeat the president in Georgia?
We have certainly been told that there is evidence of that, and it would warrant an investigation if anybody were actually going to do an honest investigation.
What more could you tell us about that alleged conspiracy? Is the governor's involved?
I can't give you any more details on that now, but it would certainly warrant an investigation. If it had been reported to me as a law enforcement officer, I would be investigating it steadfastly.
I know you say you want to do your arguing in court. You are an attorney. You're not a press secretary, but you all did have a press conference last week. Jordan Sekulow said that there's going to be a filing soon in Georgia that would be explosive. Can you tell us anything? Can you make some news with us here tonight? Tell us anything new that you're going to present in that filing in Georgia.
Well, I can't say that yet, but hopefully this week we will get it ready to file.
Sidney,
it will be biblical.
Biblical. What is the state where was it the worst? From what you see and what you're alleging, what state was switched the most?
Oh, that's really hard to say. Georgia is extremely bad. We've got ballots being shredded, ballots being thrown out in trash bags, lying by people working in the center, the votes being switched, the algorithms being run. You name the manner of fraud, and it occurred in Georgia.
These are in the Atlanta area counties. Those counties, Fulton, DeKalb.
Yeah, I think the algorithm ran most probably across the country. Can I say that for sure yet? No, I can't say that for sure yet, but it looks that way, and it looks like 35,000 votes were added to every Democratic candidate.
You also talked about this ability of the system, and I thought this was so interesting when you said it, that it can take a vote and it can make a vote for Biden worth more than a vote for Trump. Do you think that happened, or is that another part of the system that maybe wasn't used?
No, I think that definitely happened. I think that was the first step with the system, to weight the votes so that a Biden vote is worth 1.23, say, and a Trump vote is worth the rest of that. And so the Trump vote is about 3/4, and the Biden vote is 1 1/4. And that way, you can see the reports and the records of fractional numbers for the votes.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It is. I mean, everything you're alleging, frankly, is nuts, which is why I think you're getting so much scrutiny and so much criticism. But if it's true, and we don't know, and that's just a simple thing, is that we don't know yet if it's true because we can't see what you've seen. I want to ask you about Michigan. Michigan's a bigger margin than the rest of them. It's like 150,000. What are you seeing in Michigan?
We're seeing essentially the same things in Michigan, except larger number of ballots being stuffed in. It's the old-fashioned stuffing the ballot box. They're just doing it by computer instead of by paper. That's really all it is. They're dragging and dropping files of votes from one person to another instead of just stuffing paper ballots in the ballot box.
Can you specifically?
And, corruption in elections has been going on forever. I remember LBJ saying, send some guys down to the cemetery because those people, if they were alive, would have voted for me. And they take the name and the birthday, and that's what they did.
So it's Saturday night. Can you preview for us as specifically as you can what's going to happen this coming week, starting Monday morning? Tell us where you're going to file, what you expect to happen by Friday.
Well, I don't personally. I don't expect to file anything by Monday. I'm hoping we can get it ready by Wednesday. If not, it should be ready by Friday. But it's a massive project to pull this fraud claim together with the evidence that I want to put in.
So are you saying you're going to
And
file?
remember, this isn't a summary judgment motion where we actually have to produce any evidence now. Your typical lawsuit, you just file the statement of what the charges are without any affidavits or anything.
But are you saying you're going to file
the way the media is going about this is absolutely ridiculous and unreasonable to expect us to put evidence in right now. Although we know election issues are on an expedited schedule, but I could wait a month to file the fraud case and everybody would have to undo their certifications because it's so bad.
But are you saying you're going to file the same case in multiple jurisdictions or in one jurisdiction?
Each one's a little bit different depending on what happened in the state, the different manner and means and the evidentiary aspects that support each one. We've got different affidavits from different witnesses in each of the states. So there are going to be some differences between them, but they're going to be claims that are identical. Some of the legal claims are going to be identical. For example, in a number of states, there were modifications to the machine after the statutory cutoff date that should invalidate every vote cast on the machine. I mean, there's no way Georgia can proceed to have an election using those machines for the runoff candidates. Yeah. That's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, as we wrap this up, Sidney, I think everybody at home right now wants to see this. They want to see what you say you've seen. Is that going to be possible at any point? Are we going to be able to see some of these problems and some of these issues, the way these systems work and the way this Dominion works?
Yes, and there's actually evidence online now. I mean, we need to try to get our website up to date with the complaints that have already been filed. But exhibits were attached, for example, to Lynn Wood's complaint in Georgia that are remarkable and stunning, including the affidavit of the young man from Venezuela who saw Hugo Chavez create how they did the software, hire people to do it and get it done, and then how it worked to make sure he won every election thereafter. That's what it's designed to do. Their own handbook tells you that these things are features of their system. Right. Are we supposed to think they didn't use the features? Heck no, they used them. And they used them against their own candidates. The Democrats used them against Bernie Sanders in 2016. And somebody even told him what had been done to him when Hillary Clinton won that primary, and he didn't. And instead of standing up for the American people and the right to vote, he sold out.
You're saying Dominion, the Smartmatic Dominion system was used in 2016 when Hillary beat Bernie in the primary?
Yes.
Wow. I don't think we had heard that yet. That's an incredible development right there. And you say he knows that. Bernie Sanders knows that.
Yes, the person who sent me the data told me that they informed Bernie Sanders of all their findings, and he didn't do anything except get enough money to buy another fabulous house.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's been used for both parties. One of the big problems is that we don't know who was elected by buying their election through Dominion. I'm sure it crosses party lines. That's not an accusation against every politician. It's certainly not meant to be, but it means we don't know which ones got elected that way and how much they knew about how it was being used for or against them, certainly not against them. But I'm reasonably certain at this point that John James was ripped out of his seat, and he was entitled to have won that election by the real vote. And the same, I think, is true for Doug Collins in Georgia. And there's no telling how many congressional candidates should have won that lost by the addition of 35,000 votes per Democrat or the algorithm that they were running against whoever they wanted to target. I mean, you can do it candidate by candidate.
That is something else. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Sidney, what you're alleging, I can't even imagine, and I hope that you will join us again to talk about what you continue to find as you continue to investigate.
I will do that, and I will try and get more stuff up online this week. We've got some website
or just email
issues,
it to
and
us.
Of course, people are trying to hack us and everything else. But Democratic Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney wrote the Treasury Secretary about this very issue in 2003, I think it was.
17
So
years
people
ago.
have been complaining about it, and the government's done absolutely nothing except whatever it wants to do. So who is really pulling the strings here and choosing the American
Right.
officials pursuant to this system?
Yeah.
Because it's not the people of the United States of America, and that's supposed to be who it is.
It's just something else. And like you said, prominent Democrat politicians have complained about the usage of this system in this country. Sidney Powell, thank you so
Right.
much for joining us tonight on the phone. I know how busy you are, and we appreciate the time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay. All right. Joining us now to talk